This is a water canal that carries water down from the sheet above and brings it down the hill and into Blue Rock Springs Creek. However, water is not the only thing that makes its way down into the creek. Unfortunately, pieces of paper, plastic, and other trash gets carried along by the water and also gets into the creek. This occurs due to the simple fact of humans littering and dumping their trash into the streets. All of the water travels through a series of pipes and eventually gets into the San Pablo Bay. After the water is in San Pablo Bay, it makes its way into the San Francisco Bay and then into the Pacific Ocean. Once again, all of the trash in the water follows along and it too ends up in the Pacific Ocean. After some time, with the help of wind patterns and ocean currents, all of the trash gets off the coast of Hawaii into what is known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Mr. B also mentioned that a piece of plastic that ends up in the streets here in Vallejo can get all the way into the patch and can be eaten by a bird in Hawaii and may kill it. Although we see a bottle cap on the street as nothing and we see no point in picking it up and putting it into the recycle, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is just one piece of evidence that shows that all garbage, regardless of size, may have fatal effects on wildlife and even ourselves. The easiest way to prevent the buildup of the patch and reduce the amount of garbage in the water is to properly dispose of all your garbage and not leave garbage in the streets. Another way is to remind your family and friends about the importance of proper trash disposal.
Here you see Mr. B going down to the creek to grab some water samples with various macroorganisms for us to identify. We were given several different tools to aid us in doing so. We had ID cards, magnifying glasses, small containers, and micropipettes. The samples were put into white trays where we were able to observe the organisms moving around and then using a micropipette, transfer the organism and some water into a small container to allow us to use the magnifying glasses to get a closer look at the organisms, and then use the ID cards to identify the different macroorganisms. Some of the organisms that were identified were side scuds and mollusks, along with many more. While observing the organisms, we had to be very careful with them so we can return them back into the creek.
An invasive species is a plant, fungus, or animal species that is not native to a specific location, in this case being this plant that is not native to California. Invasive species also have a tendency to spread to a certain severity that can cause great. Some examples of invasive species in California would be blackberry bushes. The prior years of past groups who did this biomonitoring program helped to pull out and get rid of this invasive species, while we helped plant new plants to help restore Hans Park. The different plants we planted provide multiple benefits to people and wildlife, and also contribute greatly to healthy soil and water. Through our planting of these plants, we helped bring new life to Hans Park, life that will thrive throughout the years and contribute to our community as a whole.
Hello.
Okay, weird. It's like I'm
First, we gathered our tools, which included shovels, standing sticks, gloves, box with an opening through it, and plants. Then we had to find a spot on the ground with a red flag, which meant the spot was good to use for planting. We had to then use our shovels to dig out enough soil to make a big enough hole for the plant. After this, we placed the plant in the hole and placed the dirt we dug out back in the hole and around the plant. We then placed a box around it and used 2 standing sticks on opposite sides to hold the box up. The purpose of the box was to keep the plant from falling over. After this step, we were then done with planting the plant and could move on to our next red flag.
they have the most hilarious names. Anybody know what they're called? They're called dibble sticks.
5, 6, 7, 8.
First I dibble, then I dab. Then I dibble, then I dab.
As Jamie said, the tool used here is called a dibble stick. We use this tool to help restore the plant life by planting native grass plugs. In order to plant the grass, you need to use the dibble to create a hole in the ground that is big enough to fit the plug and then cover it with surrounding dirt. With the planting of the native grass, new life was given to Hans Park and will contribute to the local ecosystem in a positive way.